Shall we start? All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everybody. First of all, let us thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his allowance that he allowed us to gather here in today's webinar. I am Dr. Shahrul Naim bin Siddiq, a Deputy Dean from Center for Postgraduate Studies, IUM. First of all, I'd like to welcome our two highly esteemed panelists, yang berusaha Dr. Nur Azlina binti Ariffin, and also yang berusaha Dr. Zulkifli bin Zainal Abidin to this webinar. So my dear postgraduate students, colleagues, brother and sister, so as you guys know, we are here again today for another series of webinar organized by the Center for Postgraduate Studies and the Postgraduate Student Society of IUM. So before we start the webinar, I would like to invite Brother Muhibullah to recite some du'as. Please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين ربي زدني علما ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما الحمد لله رب العالمين
Amin Rabbal Alamin. Thank you very much, Brother Muhib, for your concise and short dua. So, we meet again today in this another series of webinar. Today's topic is very relevant and pertinent to the question of what is next after you have completed your research work. But before that, let us contemplate why are we doing the research in the first hand. For the fundamental reason why we, the postgraduate student doing the research, is to find solution to a specific problem, right? And at the same time, is to contribute to the advancement of the body of knowledge. The finding of the research work might serve as partial solution towards a more complex problem, which is paramount to sustain human civilization and even to make it better. And this is very much aligned to the very reason why we are here as a Khalifa on this earth. For a route less traveled, some of the postgraduate students might wish or might even have planned to directly translate their research finding to be applied on and to solve for contemporary issues that revolve around our societal need. For that, they need to commercialize their research finding. And this brings us to the topic of today's webinar, that is commercialization or commercializing of research output. But then, how to commercialize? What it takes to make your research output commercializable? What is the requirement and process that need to be undergone? What kind of support and facility that is available at the university level, or better at the national level? Who will eventually own the commercialized product? So these are kind of questions that are related to the topic of the seminar, and surely some of them will be responded by the panelists. All right, and now I would like to brief about the format of today's seminar. So we will start with the presentation from the first speaker. They will take around 40 to 50 minutes, followed by the same time by the second speaker. And after that, we will open the session for question and answer by the audience. And inshallah, we plan to end the webinar by 12 o'clock with the extension time of 30 minutes. And without further ado, before I invite the first speaker, Dr. Azlina, to share her thought on the topic, let me introduce her a bit. So, yang berusaha Dr. Nur Azlina binti Ariffin is, I would say, is a very special person. is a pure product of this university. So she hold 4 degrees from this university, from 3 different kuliahs. So her first degree she got as a double degree, double degree in Bachelor of Laws honors and Bachelor of Laws in Sharia from ICOL. And then she moved on to complete her master in Business Administration from Kuliah of Economic and Management Sciences. And finally, she landed at Kuliah of IRKHS to complete her PhD in Political Science. And since after that, she has started her career in public service from 1998 as Assistant Director at the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Malaysia. She is currently the Undersecretary of Transfer of Technology and Research and Development Commercialization Division under the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, and mostly in brief. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Nur Azlina to present her thought on the topic. Please, Dr. Azlina.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Thank you, Dr. Naim. It's good to be back in IIUM even though through online session. Distinguished professors, doctors, ladies and gentlemen, postgrad students of IIUM. Alhamdulillah, an honor again to be speaking in front of you today. I would like to thank Prof. Ida Madiha, Dean of CPS, for extending this invitation for me. Actually, Prof. Ida and myself have been talking about having this session, talking on this topic since last year, but only materializes today. And all the same, I am grateful for the opportunity to share with colleagues of my alma mater here on a subject which is related to many of you here since you are doing researchers, the lecturers, and also the postgrad students alike, as well as my work. And the title, as mentioned by Dr. Naim, Commercialization of Research Output. And so, brothers and sisters, so this is the common name that we call each other. So I will use this again. Brothers and sisters, has it occurred in your mind about what would you like to do with your research after you have completed it, as what Dr. Naim has mentioned earlier? And the decision to be made will differ based on the type of research that you embark on, whether it's basic, applied, or experimental research. And let me enlighten you a bit on the journey of your R&D towards commercialization, especially if your research has commercial value. Okay, next screen, please. Yes. Okay, this is the topic, and also next screen. This is the content of my presentation. Since I'm here, I'm from Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. I would like to talk a bit on MOSTI with everyone here. I believe we also have, apart from local students, lecturers, we also have foreign counterparts. This is a good opportunity for you to get to know us. And then I will share on commercialization, the definition, of course, everyone knows, the phases, what we are doing in MOSTI, especially number 3, I will focus more on that. And of course, we end with Q&A session. I would also like to share with everyone here, I have few videos, but of course, according to the strengths of our line, whether it is okay. Otherwise, if the video cannot be shared, then we can share the slide with you afterwards. Okay. The next slide, please. So, okay, this is on the first item, background information. Next. Okay, these are the top guns of our ministry, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. I believe the guy at the center here, everyone sees him every day in the TV. He's also the coordinating minister, YBrs Jamaluddin of the vaccine now. On his left is our Deputy Minister, Datuk Haji Ahmad Amzad Hashim. And from the public service, we have our Secretary General, a lady there, Datuk Insinyur Dr. Siti Amizah Tapsir. I believe many of you here, the lecturers in IUM, are familiar because she was formerly from Ministry of Higher Education, the Director of Department of Higher Education. And we also have two Deputy Secretary Generals. On the right there, Datuk Thomas, heading the planning and enculturation side of STI. And we also have Dr. Muhammad Nur Azman Hassan, Deputy Secretary General on Technology. And for your information, Dr. Nur Azman is the first PTD, or the first administrative and diplomatic officer in the public service who got his PhD in engineering. Okay, so these are our top guns. Next, I would like also to share with everyone here that the primary functions of MOSTI includes developing STIE. We know more talk about science, technology, and innovation, but now we couple science, technology, innovation with economy. And we also have STI services as well as STIE planning and enculturation. And for development of STIE, we have two sectors under Dr. Azman, and we also have 21 divisions, units, as well as centers. And for STI services, we have Nuclear Agency of Malaysia, we have Chemistry Department, we also have Atomic Energy Licensing Board as the regulator of nuclear as well as Malaysian Space Agency. Apart from that, please don't be alarmed that we have 12 GLCs, government-linked companies, and also CLG, companies limited by guarantees residing under MOSTI. And many of you here may be familiar with some of the logos, and probably some of you here may have been funded by one or few of these companies. And we also have statutory bodies or professional bodies and foundation under MOSTI as well. And everyone is working together towards advancing STIE in our country. Okay, next screen please. Before sharing further on innovation and commercialization, brothers and sisters, let us look at Malaysia's position in various reports on global innovation such as Global Innovation Index, World Competitiveness Report, and Bloomberg Innovation Index. And as you can see on the screen, the Global Innovation Index 2020 report has ranked Malaysia 33rd in the overall GII 2020 ranking as compared to 35th in 2019. And the Bloomberg Innovation Index ranked Malaysia 29th out of 111 countries and top 30 most innovative economies. Whereas Institute for Management Development, which analyzed global economies and ability to generate prosperity, ranked Malaysia 25th most competitive out of 64 economies. Nonetheless, in terms of quality of innovation, Malaysia's innovation output is comparable to that of high-income economies. However, Malaysia shows a low level of efficiency as Malaysia produces less innovation output as compared to the level of innovation investment or input. And this situation is different from other ASEAN member states such as the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam, which show a higher level of efficiency compared to Malaysia, as they produce more innovation output than input. In this regard, the government places great emphasis on return on investment or ROI, on government expenditure in R&D, as well as intents for more demand-driven R&D to be produced and used by the industry, and to further boost Malaysia's position to the top 20 in the Global Innovation Index by year 2030. At the same time, the government also aspires to increase the gross expenditure on R&D from the present 1.04% to 3.5%, and business expenditure on R&D to be increased from 43.9% at present to 70% by 2030, while experimental development research is to be increased from 24.5% to 50% by 2025. Okay, next screen please. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have all be aware of, late last year, the government has launched this new National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy 2021 or 2030, or in short, we term it as DISTIN, Dasar Sains, Teknologi, Inovasi dan Negara. And as you can see on the screen here, this is actually also in line with our Vision 2030. And in fact, mastery of science, technology, and innovation, as well as economy, must be strengthened to ensure Malaysia's social and economic progress. And the Prime Minister in the National Science Council in July 2020 has agreed that all stakeholders should be involved in the formulation of the national policy on science, technology, and innovation. And for your information, this policy has been endorsed by the National Science Council in 2020 and has formed the basis of the 12th Malaysia Plan at the national level, which begins this year. Therefore, strategies and action plans of all ministries and government agencies are now in tandem or should be tandem with this policy. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I would like to share with you all here, since I'm here, that I've been through few National Science Council meetings, chaired by 3 different prime ministers of Malaysia in 3 different eras of the government, under the stewardship of 3 different ministers of science, technology, and innovation. So sitting, observing, and learning from them, what can I say about them all? They are, and also were, all passionate for science, technology, and innovation to not only continuously be the engine of growth for our beloved nation, Malaysia, but also to have advancement of STI in all walks of life, spanning across all sectors with collaboration of academia, including UIAM here, IIUM, the government, the industry players, and also the public at large. And now injecting the element of economy, resulting in STIE framework. And we are seeing outcome of local R&D technologies funded by the government as well as private sector, emerging and seeping through into few strategic sectors, particularly during this very trying time of pandemic outbreak. I will share later a few of the technologies. And in fact, a few of us mentioned that COVID-19 is indeed also a blessing in disguise, because it also unleashes the potentials of many great heroes, not only in our health sector, but others as well in our R&D fraternity. Okay, next. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is actually the 10 by 10 STIE framework, in which this is the work of our colleagues in Academy of Sciences Malaysia and agency under MOSTI. We need to link global technology drivers to socio-economic drivers as a guiding tool to identify our national niche areas. And this 10 by 10 STIE framework has been deliberated by the National Science Council, chaired by the Prime Minister, which integrates 10 technological drivers, as you can see on the top there, and 10 socio-economic drivers on the below there, to raise the dynamic capability in terms of adaptiveness, and innovativeness of the Malaysian economy, to shift Malaysia up the global innovation value chain. And as we can see here, the socio-economic drivers are such as business and financial services, smart technology and systems, agriculture and forestry, and others. And this sound framework provides a systematic approach to transform Malaysia into a knowledge-intensive economy, generate shared economic prosperity across the diverse ecosystem in the country, manage public health pandemics and economic volatilities, and be globally competitive by 2030. Why I share with you here on this 10 by 10 STIE framework, because all the researchers in MOSTI, the funding for researchers in MOSTI, in Ministry of Higher Education, and in other agencies, will now be focusing on this 10 by 10 STIE framework. Okay. Next, and from this 10 by 10 my STIE framework, the Academy of Sciences Malaysia has embarked on a journey to identify what are the national STIE niche areas supposed to be for 2021 to 2025 as shown on the screen. So you can see the tremendous involvement of stakeholders, the number of workshops, the number of industry captains involved, and also the number of strategic studies for this new policy formulation and also the national plans. Okay. Next, so based on the discussion, the workshops, so on and so forth, 30 niche areas have been identified through the stakeholders' engagement to ensure that they are aligned to the national aspirations. And like I mentioned earlier, funding disbursements are also using this as a reference point. And in fact, in MOSTI this year, under the 12th Malaysia Plan, we are introducing new funding, new types of funding that you may be interested in. Probably later on in this series of discussions, the CPS may want to invite my colleague from funding division, because there are vast opportunities to be explored and funding to be applied by IIUM lecturers as well as students. Okay. Next. These 30 niche areas have also been classified in terms of their weightage of contributions, in which 12 niche areas are identified as economic boosters, 11 niche areas are classified as dual impact enablers, that is the combination of economic and social impact, and 7 niche areas are identified as societal well-being catalysts. And in this regard, the government is now looking into producing our own technologies rather than depending on imported technologies, so that we can so that we can open up more opportunities for local companies to research, to develop technologies that are competitive and exportable into to the international markets. And in fact, in MOSTI now, we also have Strategic Research Fund Committee to look at whether funding applied falls into these national strategic areas, especially now that we also have Malaysia Grand Challenge Fund. So the name is very grand. The amount of funding is also very grand. So if many of you are interested, you can have a look in our MOSTI's website later on. Okay, next. Now I would like to share with you on this number 2 item on commercialization. I believe this is where the interest is heightened on your part. Okay, next. We will also talk on this commercialization process as well. Okay. Next, in terms of definition and type of R&D, we are following the Frascati Manual 2015, developed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. And I believe we shouldn't dwell into this definition. Everyone is familiar on this definition. And of course, we have 3 types of research: basic research, applied research, and experimental development research. And of course, basic research does not have immediate commercial objectives. And although it certainly could, it may not necessarily result in an invention or a solution to a practical problem. For example, a scientist trying to figure out how the body makes cholesterol or what causes a particular disease. So this is basic research. And applied research, on the other hand, is to answer specific questions aimed at solving practical problem. And this scientific method of study and research is used in businesses, in medicine, education, in order to find solutions that may improve health, solve scientific problems, or develop new technologies. For example, interventions for aggressive children behaviors. And of course, fundamental research is also a research. I mean, there is another type of research which is generally conducted to develop some new theories. Okay. Next, we also have research and development as compared to innovation. So I believe many of you here are familiar on the differences. I shouldn't dwell on this. Okay. Next, I would also like to draw the attention of many of you here. In fact, we at present have a policy which has been in place since 2009, intellectual property commercialization policy for research and development projects funded by the government of Malaysia. But many researchers, be it lecturers or students, are still not aware of this policy. Until eventually there are few matters raised by few of the lecturers, because based on their results or based on their R&Ds, they create spin-off companies to commercialize their products, and they were asking whether they are allowed to do so and whether this is contradict to the regulations of public service personnel having other types of businesses. But rest assured, we have actually discuss this matter with SPRM, with the corruption Suruhanjaya Pencegahan Rasuah Malaysia. They say there is no issue as long as the lecturers declare this matter to their immediate supervisors. Okay, so based on this policy, the definition of commercialization is given as taking an idea to an outcome, whether a product, service, process, or organizational system to market by way of licensing, assignment, spin-off, or joint ventures. Okay. Next screen, please. And of course, when we talk about commercialization, it means, or it denotes income generation that can come from products, from technologies, from systems, from sales, licensing, assignments, expansion, franchise, and so on, and so forth. But the issue here in commercialization, whether what is being produced in our researches respond to the needs of the industry, especially if the research is applied research. So there has been ongoing discussions on this matter, and mostly now has also turned into looking at funding, focusing on R&Ds that can meet the demands of the industry. And of course, there are also funding from Ministry of Higher Education addressing this basic research and fundamental research as well, because we need to be sure that the spending from the government, funding from the government produces ROI, because there has been public outcry that the government has spent a lot of money in various Malaysia plan, but where is the outcome? So that's why in MOSTI we have came up with Malaysia Commercialization Year Initiative, an initiative since 2016, and I will discuss about it later, a short while. Okay, and of course, apart from that, sustainable use of products and also conducting engagement sessions with stakeholders. And of course, there will also be drivers, leadership is also important. We also have enablers in terms of people, staff, so on and so forth. Okay, next screen, please. Okay, these are the phases of commercialization, and I'm sure that many of you here have heard of this valley of death, or it is also termed as innovation chasm, CHASM, on the gap from lab to market, how to bring your products, how to bring the result of your R&D, especially if you produce a product, you have a prototype, and how do you bring that into the market, whether you should do it alone or you should deploy assistance from government agencies, or you should work together with a private entity. So it all comes back to the choices that you make. And of course, we have two phases here: pre-commercialization, I mean invention and pre-com, and we also have growth or commercialization. Of course, you will have to develop your idea first to pre-com, and you have to get your ideas to be funded. You have to convince us in MOSTI or in Ministry of Higher Education why we should fund your projects, of course, with all the criteria set forth. And the competition is very high, I can assure you that. I also sit in the evaluation committees in MOSTI for funding. And we have various committees, technical committees comprising of the experts from the industry, from the government agencies. They will scrutinize your application. And only after they are satisfied, then the application will move to the next level, to another jawatankuasa. So finally, there will be a committee chaired by Secretary General of MOSTI to decide on that. And of course, when we talk about pre-com, you also need to follow the market and also to address what the industry needs, so that you will have higher chance of having your products to be marketed. And in terms of growth, you need to also look at product design and packaging, marketing and branding, so on and so forth. And many of the lecturers that we meet mentioned that, of course, they cannot do this alone. They have to, to give their product to somebody to be commercialized. And of course, there are challenges along the way. Probably by the time your R&D output is ready, is completed, it is already obsolete. It is already an old technology, so that is something for us to look into as well. And not in accordance with market requirements, there is funding gap, and also IP protection in terms of cost and time. I have the opportunity to talk to someone from SME Association. He said that actually the information, the technical information provided in my post website, which is a public domain, can be used, or many people have used that information to come up with another product, because this is something that those industrious people may do, based on the technical information available, because there are also people taking opportunity from information residing in public domain. So they don't have to pay, to the researchers. So this is also happening now. Okay, next. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, next screen please, Cik Normas. Okay, this is the R&D commercialization ecosystem in MOSTI. So let's say if you have your product, you have already finished your R&D and you would like to approach us, there is actually few entry point. You can come to my division, Technology Transfer and R&D Commercialization Division, in which we have Malaysia Commercialization Year Initiative. Normally what we will do is we will conduct due diligence workshop. So you have to present in front of our technical experts. They will determine what is the technology readiness level of your company, of your product. Technology readiness level is a tool that we use to look at commercial readiness of the product. This is actually adapted from NASA, which is now being commonly used in Malaysia. Then if it is already commercialized, we will list your product as one of the MCY special KPIs. And if it is not yet commercialized, we will recommend facilitations or interventions by respective agencies under MOSTI or external outside MOSTI. And if you need further funding, we can channel your case to our funding division, as well as to other funding agencies residing in MOSTI. You can also go to entry 1 to fund division, entry 2 is our division, my division, and entry 3 to other divisions as shown on the screen. And of course, how do you exit? You will exit either as MCY special KPIs or facilitated by other agencies, as I mentioned just now, exit 2A and exit 2B. Okay. Next, now we come to commercialization of intellectual property. I believe many of you here are familiar, and many of you here may be impatient to actually register and file your IP quickly, so that they will not be copied or imitated by the others. So when we talk about intellectual property, of course, Intellectual Property Corporation of Malaysia, or MIPO, comes into the picture, and there are many types of IPs as shown on the screen: patent, copyright, trademark, industrial design, geographical indication, IC layout designs, and also trade secret. What we want for us in Malaysia is, of course, I know that many of the lecturers in Malaysia, their professorship, and also the promotion will also depend on the number of publication or papers that they publish. So copyright is very common for our researchers, for our students. But we would also like to see that the writing is not on papers only, but also can be transpired and can be converted into something or products or technologies that are commercializable. I'm not sure whether MIPO has been invited before. I believe it will also be good if probably the Secretariat can also invite MIPO in the future to explain further on what they have on the issues and the challenges. Okay. So I don't think I should dwell into this definition of what patent is, what copyright is, but of course, please know that intellectual property is very, very important. Okay. Okay, next. Talking about intellectual property, of course, the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs is the guardian or is supervising on matters on intellectual property. But for us in MOSTI, we are actually supervising looking at the policy that I mentioned earlier. Yes, you can get these slides later. I saw this question on the chat screen. So this IP commercialization policy for R&D projects funded by the Government of Malaysia is under MOSTI's jurisdiction. And for your information, next slide please. The most important items, or the most important the most important items listed in this policy are some of them are ownership of IP, determining who should be the owners of the IP. So Dr. Naim mentioned about this earlier on. There are the list of ownership of IP depending on who disbursed or which agencies disbursed the money, who conducted or who conducts the research. Okay, and we will also have commercialization options in terms of how do you commercialize your products. Should you do outright sale? Should you transfer your IPs to someone else, or do you get your IPs to be licensed to any other party? So there are options to be made based on your preference, based on your choices, based on the factors that you deem fit or you deem appropriate for you. And there is also an item on IP protection as well as on wealth sharing. So when we talk about wealth sharing, it means that the innovators, the researchers are entitled to get monetary values, or get money from their researchers if their researchers are commercialized. I'm not sure whether we have this case from IIUM, but we have other cases, especially from Institute of Medical Research. There are also IMR is also a government agency. We also have under JKR, they have their innovation, not R&D, but innovation, which they have successfully commercialized, and the innovators are now receiving royalties from their commercialization, from their commercialized products. And of course, the wealth sharing, the timetable is also shared in this particular policy on how to share. Okay. And for your information, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, next screen, we are now revising this policy because this policy, as I mentioned earlier, in 2009, we are improving it in terms of its scope, expanding the scope to also include not only R&D but also innovation with strategies and action plans to be executed by various parties, not only by MOSTI, because this is a policy at the national level. We would also like to improve the distribution of wealth sharing and, of course, determining the ownership of IP in simpler ways. And apart from that, we are also coming up with an operation manual to facilitate the management of this commercialization of IP in government agencies. And of course, for public universities or even universities, because you are formed under, you are statutory bodies, you may choose to follow or not to follow government's regulations. But I was told that many universities are also adapting or making some changes to this 2009 policy to suit the requirement of each university. And of course, we expect that these new improvement to the policy will be more comprehensive. And inshallah, we will table it in the cabinet sometime in, I would say, August, because the original authority ataupun punca kuasa of this 2009 policy was decided by the cabinet. So whenever we in the government have something to revise, which was originally decided by the cabinet ministers, we have to revert back to the cabinet. So we hope to do this this year. The cabinet paper is ready. It's now with our minister to have this 2021 to 2025 policy improvement to be implemented at the national level. Okay, next, please. Okay, so now we have come to the, I believe, more interesting part, because there are more in store for you to know, and I will also share with you IIUM products which have been listed in our KPI, special KPIs under Malaysia Commercialization Year. So these are basically 6 initiatives that I would like to share. There are many more residing in our agencies, but of course, due to the time, I cannot possibly share all. Okay. Next, we have Malaysia Commercialization Year, in which we hope to boost commercialization activities in all sectors and at all walks of life in Malaysia, especially from the funding by the government. So this has been in place since 2016 until 2010. We have few phases. Phase 1, MCY 2.0, MCY 3.0 as seen on the screen. And MCY 2016 has been mandated through budget speech in 2016, in which the KPIs set forth was for Malaysia to have 360 R&D products commercialized by 2020. So Alhamdulillah, we managed to achieve that. And actually MCY is a platform to accelerate commercialization of R&Ds funded by the government. And so the different phases have different objectives, as you can see on the screen there. Okay, next. What is then the criteria of MCY special KPIs? Okay, in order for us, or in order for you to have your products listed in our MCY special KPIs, so these are the criteria. So if we have due diligence workshop this year, for example, we will look at your revenue from direct sales, whether generated for the current year, whether you have royalties received from sales made in the current year, and if you have a licensing agreement, so it is to be signed with a business partner in the current year, and products or technologies or innovations can be new products or new technologies, or technologies which have been upskilled from existing products, can be from the previous years. And after we discuss with our audit team, we also have audit coming in to look at our process of special KPIs. They also mentioned that we can also consider license agreement 7 months before, even from the previous years. So there is now loose criteria for number 3, so that we can have more on board. Okay, next screen please. This is the technology readiness level that I mentioned just now, from TRL1 until TRL9, and in MOSTI we have agencies catering to the needs of all these TRL. Okay, so we evaluate, we determine technology maturity and commercial readiness on a scale of TRL1 to TRL9. This may be alien to you, I'm sure, because this is also alien to me when I was in IUM. I'm only exposed to this when I joined MOSTI, when I'm in this particular division. So that's why we introduce due diligence workshop using this tool as a basis to determine intervention and facilitation required by your products. Okay. Next. So this is also something that I would like to share, commercialization pathway in MOSTI's ecosystem. As you can see there, we from TRL1, basic research, from ideation to commercialization, TRL9, we have many agencies to assist you. You can see the logo there, to handhold you, to advise you on product development, and even give funding to you, and with infrastructure support, so on and so forth. So depending on the type of your R&D output, the level that they are in, we have many that can assist you in MOSTI. Okay, next. Okay, next is on the intervention programs that we conduct from 2016 to 2020, still ongoing. Due diligence I've mentioned, we also have pocket talks, engagement. We have cooperation with MIPO to identify potential IPs to be commercialized, but there is some challenge because IPs are filed by IP agents. Okay, so it is also a challenge for us to find the real owners of the IPs. Capacity building, we also conduct courses, so on and so forth. Okay, so for phase 3, we aspire to go global by participating in international exhibition and also business matching. Okay, next. Okay, so congratulations to everyone here, to the researchers, to the students alike, because Alhamdulillah in 2020 we have managed to surpass the KPIs set forth, the 360 products. We have managed to get 386, and among these 386, there are 5 or 6 products from IUM. And all these 386 products or technologies commercialized have generated the sales volume of RM402 million, something that we are proud of. And as you can see on the screen, the contribution from universities, total contribution from 2016 to 2020 are 102 products or technologies. So congratulations to everyone, because you are also part of these success stories. Okay. For your information, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about Malaysia Commercialization Year, that is something worth waiting, especially by researchers, because at the end of the year, normally we have MCY Summit every year without fail since 2016. And we have MCY Award, Malaysia Commercialization Year Award, in which, next screen please, I would also like to share the award process, because normally at the beginning of each year, we will send invitation letters to all ministries, to universities, to nominate their products, so that we can select them, filter them to look at whether they can fit in our MCY special KPIs. Because if they fit in our special KPIs under MCY, if they are listed, then they are eligible to be shortlisted as finalists in our MCY award. So this is just the award process. I shouldn't dwell on this. I would just let you to know that we have this particular process. Okay. Next, so this is the best part. These are the award categories: Commercial Deal Award, Research and Business Partnership Award, Research Entrepreneur Award, Emerging Innovator Award, Social Entrepreneur Award. And we also have one Supreme Award to be given, to be chosen from all the 5 winners. We have main prize, consolation prize for each of the category. And the total value for each year is 1 million, except for 2019, the value of the prize has been reduced to 770,000. But of course, there is a combination of cash and non-cash prizes. But due to this pandemic outbreak on 2020, the ministers decided to give all cash to all the award recipients. Okay. So next, I would like to share a few of the products which have been the main prize winners under MCY. So you can see there a few products from government research institutions. We also have from universities. 2017, we have here the main prizes. I'm sharing with you only the main prizes, not the consolation prizes. But for UIAM 2017, Prof. Azura won Emerging Innovator Award for her cheese bromelain product. I will show the product later on. Okay, then next we have 2018, 2019, the products. Okay. Next we have 2020 winners. This is the most recent winners. Okay. Okay, so what are the products of IIUM which have made way into our MCY? Okay, next. Since we have 5 products, 2 from Prof. Azura, 1 and 5. So we have iJessic, iHand, lead pen, recombinant bromelain, and bromelain cheese. This is bromelain cheese. I was made to understand that many industry players are interested in this cheese because it's halal. Bromelain cheese is halal. Okay. So winner of Emerging Innovator MCY Award 2017, bromelain cream cheese. And iJessic, next, Genermas. We also have iHand hand sanitizer formulated in liquid form for easy use on a surface. We have lead pen detecting the presence of alcohol in FMB. Next, we have protein breaking enzyme to extract that has been extracted from pineapple. So these are all the R&D products of UIAM. Okay, congratulations to UIA. Okay, next, these are all just few of the pictures around MCY program 2016 to 2020. So in the middle there, because of the pandemic outbreak, we have a special networking session, interaction session between YB Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation with all the winners, the main prizes winners and the consolation winners. And this recording of the interaction session was made available during our MCY Summit, which we also conduct hybrid. So I believe many of you here have participated in our MCY Summit in December last year as well. And if you are interested to have a look, you can go to Mosti's Facebook. We have the recording of that session in Facebook Mosti. Okay, it's already 10:55. I'll go quickly. Next, we also have MCY in Media promotion from 2014. In fact, because we start MCY, Mosti commercialization year with, we started Malaysia commercialization year with Mosti commercialization year. So from Mosti, then we upgrade to the national level to be Malaysia. So that's why we have coverage even from 2014 until now. Next. Okay, so the latest is in December. We have surpassed the exceeded target. Next, we also have already products penetrating international market. So this is just a few examples. Okay. Next, I would like to share on this National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, which I believe is also of interest to many of you here. This is actually a facility that allows researchers, innovators, startups, and high-tech entrepreneurs to test your products, your services, your business models, and delivery mechanisms in a live environment. So this is actually an initiative under Pelan Jana Ekonomi Negara, launched by the Prime Minister in July or August last year, to assist or to accelerate commercialization of R&D. So as a National Solution Coordination and Facilitation Center, this National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, or NTIS, provides relaxations from all or selected processes or regulatory requirements to accelerate the development of innovative solutions from the R&D stage to being commercially ready. And this is open to technologies, products, solutions, and R&D for the prioritized sectors, as can be seen on the screen, given the current needs that are medical technology, manufacturing, agriculture, education, travel, and tourism. And next slide, please. Magic, our agency under MOSTI, is the lead secretariat. We also have on board TPM, UMOS, and under MOSTI as well, and Futurize, an agency under MOF. As technical committees to look into the application, to screen the application, and also MTDC as our funding agency. So we look at both commercial partners as well as regulatory partners, because you may have something, you may have R&D products that are against any regulation, but we need to test it. So you can also enter into our NTIS. Okay. Next, there is a short video. Probably Normas, we can show sekejap.
The collaboration between NTIS and Asia today is to develop a third drone sandbox in Malaysia, specifically focusing on delivery.
Voice of our minister.
The first drone delivery in Malaysia using extended visual line of sight.
Drones have the potential for instant gratification. You imagine a scenario that you order something at your home on AirAsia Super App, and 20 minutes later, it's arriving in front of your house.
Before this, we've restricted it to largely agricultural use cases. But now, with drone deliveries, you've opened up a new sector for drones to come into, last mile delivery for consumer items. So you can imagine the use case for this is not just your food or your usual deliveries, but also deliveries to places where it's difficult to access, deliveries into interior areas, rural areas, deliveries of medicine in flood-hit areas. And today we flew a payload of about 2 kilograms T-shirts to over 5 kilometer distance for delivery here in the Obama Oval in Magic.
I do believe, having talked to the regulators, at the drive, the energy of Magic, and also AirAsia, we're really aggressive. I think it's a great partnership, and I think Malaysia could lead the way in drone delivery, and that will transform
some connectivity
transformation.
Actually supposed to be a video, but no problem. That was actually to show drone testing, bringing 2 kilograms of T-shirts in Cyberjaya, in Magic, witnessed by Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, together with Tan Sri Fernandez. Let's stop the video. It's okay. In the interest of time, we will share with you the slide later on, and you can watch the video, because I think we have some issues on problem because many of us are working from home. Okay, the next initiative that I would like to share with you is on high-tech, low-touch. Probably this is a new term for us, because the low-touch economy is the new state of our society and economy, because we have been affected of this COVID-19. So the low-touch economy is characterized by low-touch interactions, health and safety measures, new human behaviors, and permanent industry shifts. And in Malaysia, this high-tech, low-touch initiative has been initiated by Working Group 9 on Science and Technology, chaired by Minister of MOSTI, that reports to Pandemic Management Committee at the national level, chaired by Senior Minister of Defence. And of course, most experts agree that we are in for a long, slow, bumpy recovery from this COVID-19. So if we can see around the world now, they are also talking on high-tech, low-touch. That means to say less face-to-face interaction in terms of physical distancing, less touch not only between person to person, but also person to surface. And we can see that robots are now replacing high-risk human interactions in service businesses. In Malaysia, during the pandemic outbreak, even from March 2020, we have put in place few robots from our industry players to assist the frontliners in delivering food to COVID-19 patients, for cleaning and sanitizing, to take their dirty clothes. And we will share with you later on few of the pictures here. Yes, next screen, please. Okay, we have autonomous robots. We put in Hospital Chancellor Tuanku Muris in Kuala Lumpur. We also have mobile COVID-19 screening booth, and we also have this ventilator. Okay, so when the country is faced with movement control order and also PKP, PKPD from day one of MCO, in fact, MOSTI and its agencies, we didn't rest on our laurels. We the R&D products and technologies were sought for high and low for us to combat COVID-19, or finding R&D products that can reduce risk of COVID-19 spread to the frontliners. Okay. Next, we also have social impact matching grant. Various strategies have been planned to ensure that Malaysians are not denied necessary aid throughout this challenging period. Therefore, the government has introduced this social impact matching grant totaling RM10 million, launched on 5 September 2020 by Minister of MOSTI to support social enterprises and social innovation in Malaysia so that they can sustain their initiatives and programs, harnessing their capability to raise funds, increasing public awareness in social innovation, and scaling solutions for good social and environmental outcomes. And for every ringgit earned through crowdfunding, this grant will match that amount in a 1-to-1 ratio. And MAGIC and Malaysia Innovation Foundation, or Yayasan Inovasi Malaysia, are collaborating together in targeting accredited social enterprises and social innovators, including those at the grassroots level as beneficiaries of this grant. So what is the relationship between you as researchers and this social impact matching grant? You may want to give your products to these social enterprises for them to work on, or to be marketed to these social enterprises. Okay. Next, we also have a latest initiative, My Tech Pitch, in which we have this every month according to the theme, based on the 10x10 My SCIE framework. We have a pitching platform by university researchers, by students, online meeting. We have strategic partners from investors, from angel investors, from startup companies, from chambers of associations, in which we will pitch for 5 minutes, all in one shot, in Facebook Live. Then after the pitching session, we will have specific breakout rooms only for your product, one breakout room for one product. Then anyone interested in your product will go into that breakout room to have further discussion. And we have successfully conducted, Alhamdulillah, 4 pitching platform with different partners, as you can see on the screen there, all with agencies under MOSTI, together in collaboration with Ministry of Higher Education. We also have researchers from IIUM pitching as well as other universities, and 8 out of the 60 pitches are now discussing with potential partners in terms of further funding and so on and so forth. Okay. You may be interested to apply for the next round of pitching. Okay. Next. I would also like to talk about Malaysia's participation at Expo 2020 Dubai, because we will also be having our commercialization or commercialized products in Expo Dubai. And Malaysia's participation is led by Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI. This is the approval by the Cabinet, mandate given by the Cabinet Ministers, where our Secretary General is the Commissioner General of Malaysia's participation in Expo Dubai. And the Deputy Secretary General is the Deputy Commissioner General. And I am the head of Main Secretariat for Malaysia's participation in Expo Dubai. And the implementing agency is the Malaysian Climate Change Centre, MJTC, an agency under Ministry of Environment and Water, or in short, CASA. And of course, this expo has been postponed for a year from October 2020 to October 2021. And we have been preparing for this expo for almost 3 years now. And that's why the name 2020 is still retained by the organizer, 2020. And I would like to share a bit on this expo. Malaysia chose energizing sustainability as our theme for the expo. And in keeping with this concept, our self-built pavilion is designed as a rainforest canopy. So we may not see this in the video that we are sharing with you later on, but the concept is like floating on the air. Yeah? It aims to give visitors an immersive experience of our rainforest biodiversity and our country's effort at long-term sustainability across various industries. And this is inspired by the majestic rainforest of Malaysia, and will incorporate energy efficient and energy saving features to achieve 30% energy savings. At the moment, the construction of our pavilion is Alhamdulillah 97% as of yesterday. And we will host 26 curated weekly thematic trade and business programs supported by 22 government ministries, 41 agencies and 5 state governments, bringing with them 20 companies each week. And I believe universities will also be together on board with us under Ministry of Higher Education. And we have 10 key sustainable sectors that we will highlight our local R&Ds as well. We have education, youth and technopreneurship, trade industry 4.0, smart manufacturing. We have science, technology, innovation and environment, sustainable agriculture and agri-commodity, tourism and culture, e-commerce and communication technology, halal industry and Islamic banking. Of course, we have to achieve certain KPIs that have been approved by the Cabinet. And the first thematic week, which will start in October this year, is Commercialization Week. And we will bring our R&Ds in our pavilion led by Technology Park Malaysia and agency under MOSTI. And more importantly, this expo will serve as a springboard for our participating Malaysian companies, for our researchers with their products which are export ready and eager to gain access to global markets. And of course, the programs will also feature innovators, startups, SMEs, and big players looking to forge trade and business collaborations. So we have a video. I'm not sure whether we can have a more improved quality. Okay, thank you. Cik Normas, we will share later. Okay, next, we have here some information on commercialization. Our portals, various portals which can be of assistance to you should you be interested. Website MOSTI for funding division, MCY portal, e-Dana portal, which is e-funding portal. We have NTIS sandbox portal as well as social impact matching grant portal. So Dr. Naim, I believe that will be all from me, and I'm prepared if there should be any questions from any interested brothers and sisters. Thank you, Dr. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much to Dr. Nur Azlina for a very informative, very comprehensive sharing of information from her side, from the briefing of Malaysian status in innovation and commercialization ecosystem to the commercialization initiative by MOSTI, from the agencies, different agencies to support the development of product at different technology readiness level, TRL, with different set of grant and fund to the MCY Award, to the Expo 2020 Dubai. So this is very comprehensive information that we have gained from Dr. Azlina just within 40 minutes. I think, thank you very much, Dr. Azlina, for this sharing. I think if you don't mind, Dr. Azlina, for us to postpone the question and answer session to the end.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So now I think it's time to move to the next speaker for our webinar today. So our next speaker is yang berusaha Dr. Zulkifli, Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli bin Zainal Abidin. I'll brief him a bit. So Dr. Zulkifli obtained his Bachelor of Engineering in Computer and Information Engineering from UIA in 2003. And then he went to pursue her Master in Science and PhD from USM. In 2007, 2013, graduated respectively. He then joined the Mechatronic Department, Engineering Department at the Faculty of Engineering. He is a trained robotist and actively engaged with industries and government agencies as consultant and subject expert. Among the industry agencies that he has collaborated with are PDRM, Proton, Mara, Petronas, Petroscience, Temasek Engineering, Deloitte, R&D, Jabil, ProStrain Technologies, Maris, HGIS, Sirim, Altus Oil and Gas Malaysia. I mean, there's a lot of industry that has been working with such a vast experience. He is presently the director and the co-founder of the Center for Unmanned Technologies, in short CUTE, a competence center program under industry and university by MITI and KPT. He has acquired a number of research projects and grant as a principal investigator worth more than 5 million ringgit, which is mainly from industrial grants, basically. His research projects are mainly in the area of underwater, ground and space robotic platform, development for fieldwork operation, new sensing device and mechanism, and intelligent control algorithm. All right, so with that brief, Dr. Zulkifli, I would like to invite you to present your thought about this topic. Please, Dr. Zul.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Dr. Naim. Thank you, Dr. Azlina. Very kind of high-level kind of information to us. Okay, thank you very much. And then our professors, our brothers and sisters in IIUM. Okay, Assalamualaikum again. If I may share my screen. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So my objective a bit different from Mosti, because I want to see our future leaders, which is postgraduate students, to understand what is going on the ground level. Okay, it is something like not the fairy tale story. There are something to ponder what is actually happening. Okay, so I would like to just simply make a step where you have to understand what we are going to learn today, and then why do we need to understand all this and how to achieve that commercialization work. Okay, so you know that as a postgrad student, you have to know that it is about the time management. You have to understand the skill of time management, research, presentation, and also the writing skill. Okay, on the right picture, okay, you know that this photo quite viral quite some time for IIUM graduate. So it is for postgraduate student, our convocation is slightly different. It's not like that. We don't make so much fun of it. It's much more serious matter because you are married, some of you, and then some of you like to pursue your career seriously in R&D. Okay, so that is about the postgraduate. You know, that will be the expectation in the time management. And then what about the research? Okay, the research actually is a systematic investigation. You want to see something which is novel fact this way, and then you have to solve a new or existing problem, and then you have to solve a new ideas and try to develop a new product, which is not necessarily a product, a tangible product. It can be a services or process. Okay, so there's a cartoon over there. As you can see, while I was a student last time, I put myself that I want to be an inventor one day. So I joined the Kuliah of Engineering instead of joining the Petronas. I was a Petronas scholar, and I asked them that I want to relieve my scholars, then I want to join academic world. So that is this, what I am today. So keep on doing research and research, perhaps research in peace one day. Okay. So what about the research output? Okay, I think this bit, how to close this. All right. So about the research output, research is different thing, the output is different thing. Maybe some of you from different faculty, the output maybe come from artifact, for example, and then some of you might find that your research output in terms of book. Some research output also can be in terms of the music composition for those who are in the music. And then some research output also can be translated into the paper. This is the common for postgraduate student. And then some of the research, the output will be in terms of data set. This is quite new nowadays. It's a data set, data is considered as a gold mine today. Okay. And then some of you might produce an output of research such as the architectural design, the PCB design, and then the prototype design, multimedia, and etc. Even the fashion design as well. And then some of the output will be in terms of your exhibition or gallery or museum, okay, something. Okay. Some of the output can be just a figure, okay, but the figure is very, very meaningful in terms of report, like a COVID-19 figure that you can see in the internet nowadays. There are a few of company or programmer try to make it information is easier to us to understand and see in terms of the figure or something. So there's a lot of research behind it. Okay. And then we also have to, some of the students related to programming, you have to upload your code, not only in the publication, but also in GitHub platform as well. There's some of the research output in terms of journal. Okay, this is compulsory for postgraduate student, I believe. And then some of the research output in terms of the media. Okay, I'm quite disrupting between this. Sorry. Okay. And then this is what we are talking about. Some of the research output can also be in terms of a patent. Patent is not necessarily the one that we are talking about. It's more broader. Okay. It's IP related to licensing, related to sometimes your output in terms of trademark or licensing is a next action after the IP. I will talk about it later. Okay. Some of the output can be in terms of performance. Okay. If those who are in the art or the music or something, you have to perform something which is very, very novel to someone haven't seen yet before, or even something which is not existing yet for quite some time, and then he or she try to bring in back that performance into the stage. And then some of the research output will be kind of presentation. So you are giving, like a lecturer, you are giving a keynote speech as invited speaker. It's also a part of your research output. Some of the research output can be in terms of poster. Poster can describe everything rather than word. Some of the research output will be in terms of report. Some of the report can be used as a public policy for the government as well. Some of the research output can be in terms of translating the document, like for example, the text or manuscript, okay, ancient manuscript, you put it in the in our language lah, bahasa Melayu or English, that also is consider your research output. Some of the research output can be in terms of the software, okay, and then of course, last but not least, the research output is your thesis, okay. This is consider is a requirement for a doctoral, master, or degree. Okay, so that's it about the definition of the research output. Next, about the commercialization, as mentioned before by Dr. Azlina. So it's actually a process. We want to bring what we discover in the lab to the market. Okay, so by doing the licensing patent, using the facilities, the researcher is not necessarily from university. It can be from private sector as well, like Jabil, Intel, Deloitte R&D. They have their own R&D team. Okay, work in line with academia as well, if they're confident that they can work in hand together. So they will try to get investment from the federal. Okay, so you want to ensure that the discovery have a life beyond the lab. Okay, so this is the flow. Is like it's much easier way to understand it. From idea, you try to analyze, try to find a design, and then if you find out it is promising and there is data can support your formulation, and then you do the patenting. And then next, it's time for you to do the pitching and try to develop the system or the output that you like to produce, which is normally cost a lot of money. Okay, and then the marketing part. This is the Death Valley as mentioned before. This is much more crucial for lecturer especially. That's why we leave it to the commercial person to take that path toward the profit. Okay, so maybe I can revise a bit on the technology readiness. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the technology readiness might different from others, from one project to one another. Like for example, you see in this picture, the doctor tried to use the diagnosis by using the facial recognition. Okay, so some might say that this is the TRL3. Okay, you still need a validation, and then you see the camera is still not looks kind of product. It's attached by using a clamp or something like that, and then next phase you put it in the camera on the laptop itself, and then it works. Okay, then you claim it as a prototype on the intended environment. But then when it comes to the another user, like for example, Ministry of Transportation, they want to use it on the traffic light. Now the environment is different, so you cannot control the environment. Now your research from 7 go down back to the 3. Okay, due to the environment is different, we have to tune again your algorithm and so on and so forth. So I believe now you know that your research project TRL, maybe you can share and put your comment in the chat box. Maybe later I can answer your question. So related to your TRL. Okay. For your information, this TRL process sometimes took more than 20 years. Okay. The commercialization doesn't happen in 1 or 2 years. Sometimes it might take a very long period of process. Like you can see here, this is the engine. Okay. TRL process was done in 1980. They do all the simulation, and then early 1990 they try to simulate use a few type of nozzle, and then TRL4 and 5 after 15 years. Okay, and then TRL6 they try to put it on the real plane, and then TRL7 to validate to make sure that it is not danger to the user at the end. So finally, after 2005, Boeing can gain their profit. Okay, so there is another news on the right side. You can see there's a new project done by Richard Branson. He tried to make a space tourism. Maybe the engine that they're using, okay, maybe the engine they're using is a product of a lab which is patented by someone else. So they did it. Okay, maybe your product can be used from one to another. Okay. So in a nutshell, the step is very straightforward. Number 1, you have to do the research, and then you do the IP protection, and then you try to approach someone if you want to commercialize or licensing, and then you do the collaboration, and then do more on testing validation to make sure that the product can meet the commercial or the end user requirement, and then you want to produce the product in a mass pro, okay, at the end. So this is the step. Okay, but then there's a question. If you guys can answer in the chat box. So what do you think? What happened to the world without research toward commercialization? Okay, there is no research. So everyone is trying to solve something without the research. What do you think? Okay, can someone write something in the chat box? Can I see? Anyone would like to say something? And maybe you can answer question number 2. What happened to Malaysia without research toward commercialization? I want to see your what is you have in your mind. Okay. What about the Malaysian itself? As I mentioned before, the investment is quite huge, but then the output is not so much. Okay. So this is a product from the research actually. Okay, there's a lot of product in the world today is from the lab. Okay. So in terms of the Malaysian capacity itself, at the end, if we keep on pushing so hard on the research, but then there is no proper alignment to bring forward the local product to the SME or the local industry. At the end, we are still as an end user. Okay. For example, last time we have a brand of like Makcik PC, if I'm not mistaken. We have a few brand you like to propose to the industry, but at the end, if without the proper ecosystem, we will left behind as the consumer. Okay, the other example is like a vaccine. We have, if we don't have enough facilities and R&D experts, at the end, we totally rely for someone, and then we just simply end user and buy the product. Okay. So next, okay, the question is why? Okay, why you should commercialize your research product? As a student, you know that the goal of the research for the higher degree program is to develop independent research who are able to adapt to the diverse workplace in the academia, industry, and profession. This is your your mission for the next few semesters, I believe. Okay, but then those candidates with a business acumen and the market understanding, you have an advantage for information. I will share about this later. And of course, there is a pro and cons. Okay, of course, you want to improve the human condition through research. Okay, by doing this commercialization discoveries, you will helping the government for the job opportunity, because there's another new product cycle. There's a new economic development. There is global and national competitiveness enhancement. Of course, you will increase the company revenue and the university revenue and profit as well. And then you save the tax for the country. Instead of importing the product, now you are maybe exporting the product. And finally, develop a fund for public wealth as well. In terms of cons, of course, as a student, you have the risk. Either you have off track or compromising with your publication schedule. Okay, particularly if your commercialization isn't aligned with your supervisor goal. So this is a kind of dilemma. Either you want to create a wealth creation, or you want to fulfill your graduation requirement. Next, why you should commercialize? The mindset of publish or perish, which is not in my research group. Okay, we looking forward to do some more patents and publish to the public. Okay, like a newspaper or something, and then generate wealth creation for everyone. Okay, we want to see the university researchers to solve society problem, because it is really impact to the community and industry rather than impact on the paper only. Okay, and then it's a high time now university is strengthen their ability, of course, to do the to supplement the operating budget and facilities. Okay, of course, we want to see to build out the critical mass expertise, and expertise you guys will be the expertise later, and then you are the one who create a job rather than competing with a small market. You're creating a new job or new product. Okay. The step 3 is how to start. Okay. As a student, okay, you have to ask yourself why it is very important to you. Okay, why is very important to you? To me, when I start embarking into this, I found that some of the buzzing word they say why the PhD student is keep on doing so much publication. Then I say I can prove to you that to prove that we are going to make our research to be on the field work. So this is the mission to me. Then to me it's very, very important. And then you have to talk to your supervisor, of course. You cannot just simply do all these things without your supervisor acknowledgement, make sure in same direction. And then what if your supervisor and you do not have any experience? We will discover this later. I have a few tips for you. Some of you might still like, are you sure you have enough time? Because master is only 2 years, PhD is only 4 years. Yes, yeah, you still can learn something. Okay, it's a journey process. And then as a researcher, on the right figure, as you can see, you try to research something, you want to invent something, and when you want to disclose, you make a write-up, and you're asking your research management, RMC, to do some evaluation. Make sure that the evaluation is not for the sake of Myra. I'm quite worried and skeptical on this. Some of the evaluation you try to push for your individual KPI rather than the market or the community impact itself. Okay, perhaps it's not just a filing or put it on the wall, but we have to put it on the street itself. So this is the process that your supervisor has to understand as well. So it is a 10 simple rule I can share. This is study done by +1 journal, okay, published by under +1 journal. He said that what drives science does not drive business. Okay, as a research, you try to understand the world. Businessmen want to make money. Okay, so you need to find what say that is a meeting point or someone who can talk in the same wavelength. Rule number 2. There's no single path. Okay, the rules either is licensing, royalty, incubation, in-house development, startups and board. There are so many routes. Okay, we do not know yet. Okay, but once you discover it, you will learn it because different person will have a different capacity, different network. Okay, there is no specific route. The more route you go, and then the more what formula you can simplify. In a failing formula, you will discover. So it's just like any business process actually, because commercialization is about the money. Okay, you want the business process. Some of it is art, some of it is science, some of it you need inspiration as inspiration. But then some of work, some don't work. Okay, there is no secret way, I've mentioned before. Rule number 3, you have to know your right. Once you own the right, okay, some of the product you might claim that this is my output, sir. Why don't I'm the one who's supposed to own all of this? But then you have to understand that this is the protection, mean the term of the cost, the time involved, the facilities that they use, the university, supervisor knowledge that given to you, and etc. Okay, some good scientist collaboration can be ruined by misunderstood. It's not only with your university, but also with a collaborator. So you have to carefully tone down your right and then try to be a win-win. Okay. Now, rule number 4, we have to consider the implication of going from public to private. Now, as an academician, as a researcher, you like to share everything you like to share. Okay, you feel that this is something good for the benefit of everyone. But then when you reach at some point, the company would like to follow the development. Okay, for them, it's actually a trade secret. Okay, not all can be published for them, but certain, of course, you have to discuss with your collaborator. Number 5, you have to decide how much that you want to go. Some of you might go very, very heavy, deeply. Want to not only to TRL 6 or 9, you want to go up to the spin-off. Okay, you're not only teaching, but also owning, managing a company, and also you have your own overhead staff and etc. This is a kind of business entrepreneur in lecturer, okay, mindset. So you have to carefully, either you want to put it in the longer term as your career development goal and etc. You know your limit, you set it. Okay. Then for your information, market is no sentiment. They don't care. What they want to see, what is the product? They want to control whatever the process, what is your problem behind, they do not care. Okay. And then you have to make sure that now rule number 6, to separate R and D. Development can be hugely expensive. Research is not so expensive as development. Okay, development, especially on the certification and all this pre-com stuff. Okay, it's very expensive. So sometimes it might take a decade, okay, to produce the output. Some investor will make huge funding to scale up, okay, so that you can put it in the on the road. Okay. Rule number 7: the market may not exist. If you're so much obsessed with your fundamental research, sometimes the original research is aimed to solve a commercial, but it's not linked to the market. Okay. Some of the research, the situation is lead to the unknown. Okay. Rule number 8: you have to consider what do you want and what do you need. Okay. Some people want, but they buy the need. Like for example, you want the Ferrari or Lamborghini, but the one that are affordable to you and that suit your need is actually just a Toyota. Okay. And then you have to spend more time to understand the market. Okay, you have to understand the market, because this is the need. Okay, nowadays the market is very dynamic. Some of the product can absolute within 6 months. Sometimes maybe just less than 1 year. This is common, as you can see on the handphone. Okay, this new product you have to keep on innovating. Some of the product in Intel, for example, they have a 4-year. IP is keep for 4 years so that they can plan slowly. They have a lot of IP, a lot of patent is ready behind, but they not put it in the market yet. They try to control 3 months, so that they have a very good a cycle of income for their company. Rule number 9, okay, make it easy to convey, to understand. So once you talk to businessmen, everything have to be clear and concise. Okay, you want to see the profit and opportunity, how to pitch. Do not use all the jargon word, all the engineering term and etc. If you can explain it in the layman term to the school kids or to your father and mother, if they can understand your word, then perhaps the industry or the business people also can understand. Because they are not in your shoes. Some of them is not from scientists. So last, the customer as the ultimate peer review. Your paper now is reviewed by the customer. Okay, so you have to make sure that your problem is fit to the solution. Okay, have to be tough, but please do your best. Do your best in whatever term. If you are given a task, like for example, in the football team, you are not to be a striker. You are not the Ronaldo. But then since you are still a junior, your coach give you a task to do kita panggil budak Milo, okay, to prepare a drink for the team. So even though you are in the small role, but then if you do your best, the drink and food is very good. So inshallah, the team member will benefit as well. So once you agree to put yourself at that stage, just do your best at your own capacity. Don't compare yourself to others. Okay, inshallah, if you do your best today, tomorrow you will do better. Macam hari ini lebih baik dari semalam lah. Today is better and greater than yesterday. Okay, so in short, it is more difficult in practice. You want to turn a basic research into something practical. Okay, because you are looking for the market for the product, which is sometimes it's not yet obvious in the market. But then we are not good in the market analysis, right? We are not good in the market analysis. So what should we do? Okay, There's a lot of funding available, as mentioned before by Dr. Azlina as well. Most of the university lecturer, they put their scope in the MOHI. Mostly, there's not so much grant. What they can see is something related to research only. Like I can put it here, mostly my lab, PRGS, and etc. This is common in university. In fact, if you go outside, you do the collaboration with the industry, there's a lot of funding, okay? The funding can become in terms of the tech incentive, can be in terms of soft loan and others, a lot of funding here. Since this video is recorded, perhaps you can replay and stop and read one by one, okay? It's too many to elaborate. Well, I just want to share what I've gone through for the past few months, okay? For your information, I tried to get this My Lab grant as well. In MOHI, they have something like called a FRGS, it's fundamental, PRGS, TRGL, LRGS. So since I'm focusing more on the business academic probation, I apply in my lab. Now I'm already in the stage 3. I just got this email yesterday. You can see the date is 14. Okay, it's still new. So now in the stage of kesediaan amal, they would like to visit and see my facilities. So in this grant, the academician have to shift their mindset. Do not use any word of research. You have to use something that you want to assemble and put it in the company profit, or something like this. So this is what happening. So I have this experience. If you want to contact me, want to learn something, why this is my first time submit the proposal. Whereas when I ask others of recipient, they said it's after third cycle they managed to penetrate. Some of that 1 or 2. Okay, so since I have a few experience, so it's a one time. I'm no longer macam menembak peluru tabur. It's no longer is you should. You have to be a sniper. You have to be sniper. You know your bullet is the best bullet. Okay. I also received this grant from MOSTI. So I have a signed fund in 2015. But then end of the project presentation, the panel is asking me to move forward for the defense application. So I collaborate with the defense and Navy and etc. But unfortunately, on 2019, any funding related to defense and military is no longer under MOSTI scheme. So I work with another industry coming in. And then they pump in quite a lot of money from hydrokinetic and Pustaka Mawar. So Alhamdulillah, now the product is supposed to be work with MOSTI. But then I shift my collaboration with industry. We develop industry-ready prototype, and then we apply back the grant scheme with MOSTI. Alhamdulillah, we received the grant. Okay. And then I also have a grant from CRES. This is something related to the how can we utilize electronic development, okay, to catalyze the electronic ecosystem in Malaysia. I received this grant as well. Is a good kind of grant management because CRES is managing all the assessment similar to the industry. So I need to follow all the procurement process, like what industry do, all the auditing and etc. So there's a small picture there. I managed to meet this MOSTI Secretary General and all this Mari guy, Dato. Okay. So the sandbox. Okay, I have one project called Medibot. It's not as popular as Makcik Kiah, because Makcik Kiah is UTM is good in doing the marketing. My robot is not to do this to perform the delivery, but focusing more on the to replace the medical personnel like doctor or nurse virtually. So like, for example, they can remotely control the robot from somewhere else and then do all the diagnosis. Yeah, okay, meaning that we have to comply with the MDA, Medical Device Authority. That's why we need the sandbox. So we apply this grant through ProStrain. For information, I have a story whereby I'm developing this robot in-house during the first week of COVID, March last year. I can't stay in my house just like that. So I buy a few equipment from Shopee and Lazada. I develop it in-house, in my house. And then once I confident with version Y, I ask my friend to join the version 2. And then version 3 is funded by our Tan Sri Rector. And then Alhamdulillah, Tan Sri Rector also get recognized by the MTDC that approached us through a rector. And we managed to get the funding from MITI, Asian HBA Fund, as well as the sandbox. Inshallah, by end of this year, this robot will be deployed with the MDA certification. We put it in the IIUM hospital. Okay. The opening question. Okay. You guys know that what is a unicorn startup? Please don't use Google. Please don't use Google. Can you imagine what is a unicorn startup? Okay. I can type in the chat box. I want to see those who are already have this kind of mindset, meaning that you already a part of the journey process now. Okay. So next, the spin-off. This is the method that currently used widely in the research university. Some of you might come across with a startup. You want to own everything, okay? But it's no longer under university. Some of you might use this model of joint venture. This is what I'm doing in IUM. Since IUM is what to say that we are not in the RU kind of ecosystem. There's not so much spin-off. Okay, so I use this model of joint venture. Okay, so everything sounds structured. You have to planning all of this. You can achieve the goal of success. Okay, but wait. Okay, do you think this is the real life? Okay, it's just a fantasy. So as you can see the picture here, the SpongeBob, the what to say that this is the reality of the process. Okay. It's not that easy. I can share you a few things. According to MTDC, they say they have a lot of investment research project, but then only 8.3% is commercialized rate. And then how about the profit? They survived this pandemic. Okay, and then some of the research is still stay in the lab. Okay, but there is some research is good research, but not takers. So in the reality, the percentage is, to say that the probability is very low. But if you do not enter this game, who will contribute this percentage? Okay, if I not enter this game, who will contribute? So this is what we are today. Perhaps we can contribute some of the numbers in the statistic. Okay, I would like to share my experience during master and postgrad. So perhaps it relate to you, my journey. So on the top left is what I'm doing 2003 or some second. I'm doing a research in underwater robot with USM. It's only 1.5 years, not so much. So I'm focusing more on the research and do the innovation, go to the exhibition, you want to win award or something. So I managed to win 2 medals, but there is no commercialization mind yet. So, my supervisor also is Prof Rizal Ashad, now is a TNC in Unimap. Dia pun masa tu just went back from UK, still not the foundation is not so good in the commercialization yet. And then I came back a few years later to continue my PhD again with the same thing. That day we managed to secure the collaboration with the Plus Highway. We developed some kind of small robot to help them to do the inspection on the culvert inspection. This is the newspaper. USM is good in do research university is good in the do publishing. when we publish this kind of article, there's a lot of interest from industry calling my supervisor and like to bring it to another level where this robot can autonomously do the mapping itself on the inlet or any vicinity of water. Okay, so this is my journey. Left top is master and then the PhD journey. But I found that this journey is not the one that helped me what I'm doing today. I'm end of my PhD, someone from Jabatan JPS approached me and then tell me, dia tanya lah, Dr. Hasnal, dia tanya, why do you do all this robot if it's not can utilized in their operation? Dia kata, this sand mining activity, we have to send our men and to do all this plot mapping manually. So can you put your robot remotely and send the data to our office so that there is no tak ada tonto, there is no bribery involved in between, etc. So I take the challenge. I asked my supervisor that day. He was in sabbatical leave in UK, and then he said, "Okay, go ahead." And then, alhamdulillah, this is my first experience doing the real fieldwork application. Okay, and then for the next phase is like someone interfere this project. They say why that day the rush the rush is so sudden. The data is collected without our notice it in a few hours, but suddenly the data is transmitted to the office. So they say there's some hanky-panky going on the stop syllabus, and then I stop this project. This is a bit from my PhD experience. A part of that, during my PhD, I also have some kind of business mindset. This is quite not relevant, but at the end, I found that this is the turning point where I transform myself into the collaboration and willing, either you have to gut to talk with the top gun. Okay, this is my thing. During my PhD, I have an hobby to be like a Valentino Rossi, to buy all this stuff, a motorcycle, and own all these suit facilities. Okay, so I make a research. I want to make the same suit like this because the market, I don't care about the market yet. To me, it's a certification as a hobby. So use a very minimal kind of artwork. I design it. I order from eBay. From eBay, and I invest about I think about 5,000 to 10,000 to have a different suit, so that I can have a similar like a replica or the racing suit, which is not yet sellable. Okay, the original product is not available in the world, so I want to have it. So with a basic research background, I study the structure of the suit from the internet. Okay, apart from my PhD study, okay, I'll do all the research how to improvise the flexibility, the stitching size, and then after quite some time, there's a lot of orders in Malaysia online. I work after night time. I do all the design, and then since the demand is quite huge, I go to the manufacturer, okay, in Pakistan to do a further research. I ask them how come your chemical is not so good. Then I study the chemical and I study the stitching process, etc., and helping them to improvise. Okay. After quite some time, the quality is very good. And then there's so many races, quite significant performance in the world as well. This is a street race. They are winning a first place, etc. I'm sponsoring all the suit, and then I found that during my final year in PhD, I'm in a dilemma. Either I want to continue this business or sell it. So I make a business agreement, like a licensing agreement for 2 years to this company. And then, in fact, there's 2 or 3 companies come to me want to buy my recipe. So I give it to them. We do all this licensing business, and in 2 years, I just sit down and get my profit. And then after 2 years, in 2015, as of second, this market is no longer is good, okay, in the situation. This is the market. Sometimes it is good at that time, but one day it will demolish, okay, just like Nokia. Sometimes you have to be innovative. But during that day, I already shift to this kind of this So this is the turning point for me. And then I back to the university after doing PhD. Firstly, my intention is to give back to society. I do a lot of charity. Go to school from school to school, doing all this STEM for free. STEM initiative, how to build a robot stuff for free. And at the same time, I'm building the team in IUM. And then most of the students have their own capability. We just, as a lecturer, we just simply, to mentor them. And then surprisingly, there were a lot of competition. The champion, a lot of money and grant. Okay, I'm also good learning with a student that some of the knowledge is not in my generation. They have a lot of idea nowadays, student. I believe you guys also have a lot of capability compared to your supervisor. Okay, this is a thing. So at the end, back to what I have today, I have a lot of engagement. I can share. Number one, how do I engage with a collaborator when I come back? Number one, the wind flag. This is what it come from Prof. My senior professor, his friend is from introduced it to me. This is how I engage. Number two, autonomous guided vehicle from Prof. Azmi. He said that if you want to put the robot in this, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Zul. He quite good in the development the robot with the student. So I engaged with Protron. We managed to develop a 3 robot there, and we managed to set up the team over there. And then driving assistant, Deloitte R&D. This is my old friend, introduced me to their R&D head officer. And also Prof. Azmi, as mentioned before, Proton also referring the same guy, which is me as well. So you need our networking before to convey to the investor that this is the correct collaboration. The tubular inspection cleaning, this is quite funny. This guy tried to chase me riding a motorcycle, a big bike on the highway. He chased me, and then he want to know more about my motorcycle. And then at the end, we come out that to helping him out in this oil and gas operation. And then unmanned surface vessel, working with defense and strike. I have a team while I'm doing a research in USM. Dr. Effendi, he joined back the strike, and then we still keep in touch. And then he gave me this project. And then I also have Sirin from Hofer program. This is my alumni. Our alumni also give a suggestion from to Sirim officer. Then I managed to engage. And then the hydrokinetic, for your information, as I mentioned by Mr. Nazliza before, we are also go to Dubai, but through our collaborator, hydrokinetic. This is also introduced by my friend, our junior from UAE. Medibot, I've mentioned before, this is also my junior, but even initially is an in-house research. Smoky Sam rocket is lateral arrow is introduced by Sister Aida Meli from RMC. His friend from TKC would like to find the suitable collaborator, and then she introduced to me. And then we have Altus oil and gas. Due to the COVID, these two unmanned system is growing right now. This Altus oil engineering is come from Prostrain friends. He introduced me that if you want to get a research element, collaborate with Dr. Zul. And then the unmanned floor cleaner is from others lecturer, his friend from Penang who own the cleaning robot as well, asked me to collaborate. This is a bit this is how I engage with them. So as you can see, there's a lot of applied research. In terms of the student capability, I try to put the research gap in between inside their product itself. It's not the total solution. Okay. And then I try to collaborate with a big name before, like a Petronas or the Proton, but the path is very, very tough. Okay. Some of them have their own preferred vendor. They have a preferred vendor to put the solution in their operation. So now I work with a vendor, like an artist, they own all this concession to do all the cleaning service of the hull. All of this is a vendor. And then by working with the vendor, our technology also can, at the end, work in the big company. Okay, this is my strategy. Right. So the dilemma. Okay, this is some of the dilemma that I'm facing. IUM is not a research university, for information. Okay, so we quite struggle to understand the culture. Our internal funding is not so much. That's why I need to collaborate with industry, ask the industry to fund. No time to write and submit a research proposal, yes, but if you get used into it, this is your part and parcel lah. Okay, if you want to make, you want to ask your father to fund 10,000 compared to ask for 10 ringgit, you know the level of the proposal lah. So if you want to apply for million, the proposal must be comprehensive. And then some of it is very skeptical. Either buatan Malaysia or branded one is still working. But if you work on with a vendor today, with a company, some of the young generation, they want to see the buatan Malaysia is there. Okay. Do you need a mentorship system? I think yes, of course. If not, you are going to be lost. But there is the dilemma that your project is your problem. Okay, it's very hard for you to work. Teamwork is a silo. Then I can say that this is good luck. And then what you need now is a teamwork. Try to work in teamwork while you have time now. You have a few friends. Don't stay in the lab alone. Try to collaborate with others. Okay. Good researcher is transferred to the top management. This is one thing. I found that some of my friends in other universities, they're very good in commercialization. It's only one product and then transfer to the top management and then that's it. They focus more on the administrative and management role until the end. There's no more product produced by this good researcher. And then on the government external institution level, I found that there's so huge of overlapping role of agency. Okay, MTDC and also the trader sometimes is it your same pitch, but some of the project is overlapping which they not notice it. Okay, but what I can learn here from the Korea perspective, I would like to see the Korea perspective. This is a project. They want to commercialize. They want to commercialize the ship, autonomous ship. So the government play a role to put all the sectors, okay, all the players from the cybersecurity, insurance, the university institution, industry under one huge grant to fulfill the flagship of the government. So meaning that if the government want to produce an autonomous car, okay, the current ecosystem, other university can apply, this university can apply. So everyone get a small piece of cake, but at the end, the cake is not the complete cake, okay? Because it's not baked by the one ecosystem, okay? So, but in Korea, how they manage it, they put it everything under one big scope. They need to produce the collaborative result, and then the government funding is channeled properly. Okay. I think there's some study in Malaysia by this one, brother Dr. Wazaki in 2019 said that it's actually the issue is percentage success is financial. The second is say that the research management of the university. Third is market research. 70% is networking leakages itself. There's a weakness of the commercialization university and good partnership. Some research study on the policy itself, they say that the R&D product and market readiness from the university is not meet the requirement. Good partnership is not happening. Okay, some of them is just a touch and go, doing a Makcik Kia visit, doing the Makcik Kia visit for the lab, and then that's it. There is not good partnership. It's just a tour visit. The teacher, there's not so much motivation and commitment, maybe because of the KPI or something, it's not lead to their promotion. Then the government have very good support right now. This is 2019, but lately it looks like under YB Minister Khairi is very ecosystem is growing now. Okay, the control and ownership of the IP is still an issue in the university. Okay, there's so many things. Okay, this also study been done by Malaysia. It looks like the absence of national innovation. And again, this is the Korea issue, lack of market-driven, multiple agency working in silo. Okay, sometimes the agency also working at the same product done by the university, but at the end, the university product is not put it in the agency, because agency also have their own research team. Okay. And then this is another research. This is all the cycle, sustainability of the product commercialization in university. Okay, a lot of study been done. This is by the, I think this is UTM team. This is the researcher perception, the time, okay? You need the entrepreneurial mindset as well, the networking, okay? The funding is not enough, market again, technology transfer. If you want to go further, you need this kind of the facilities as well, the technology transfer office, okay, to do the all matchmaking. But some of the universities like USM, they say that most of the industry is not ready. That's why the RU have to play a role as a spin-off as well. So as a lecturer, you have to be half of your body in the academic, half of body is a business. Is quite what is that is a struggle lah. Okay, and then this this is study in Philippines. Okay, how the HOD will reflect the output of the commercialization. Okay, for your information, even though the HOD is good in the business experience, okay, it doesn't guarantee that the spin-off will exist. Okay, it doesn't exist that way. Okay, there are so many parameters, but you can back to this slide later because I want to finish. Okay. This is the outcome. Okay, what is the title? This is the impact. Okay, impact project for the commercialization in Malaysia. The study by UTM and UTP said that from 119 article, the output it showed that even though initially it looks like it belongs to the industry to make profit growth, but at the end, since the product is a university product, we are so pure in terms of giving back to the society. So when put it in the pie chart, it looks like the society benefit. Okay, you can see there's a society benefit 30%, and then the economic growth, and then the reputation of your name and your institution, and then the industry partnership contribute 40%, then entrepreneurship contribute another 12%. So at the end, we want to see the societal benefit as well. This is the based on the survey. This is the what is it. So in conclusion, I did not say that everyone should be in these shoes lah. In fact, we have to complement each other. Kalau semua orang, if everyone is a businessman, siapa who want to clean up your office, you want to do all the administrative work, who want to do the engineering work. So what I can say that is we complement each other. We have to have a inclusive and helping each other. Okay, don't say that in my research everyone have to be a commercial minded. No, not that way. Okay, so research toward commercialization, it can be done in a university, research institute, and also sometimes in-house. Macam in-house contohnya macam Apple. Apple is not mistaken, Steve Jobs buat in-house research, but at the end they come up with a startup and make a product. So as a postgraduate student, you already have a mindset of research. You want, as I mentioned before, the fashion of racing suit is not just a fashion. You do some research. You know already the process, manage your time, how to improve the product, and understand the market. But to me, it's about the shared prosperity. Okay, it's a government mission as well. I'm heading toward the industry-based collaboration. You know why? First, by getting a industry funding, I can get a research agreement, MOA, which is a legal binding. Okay, compared to the normal government direct funding from the government, it's only 3 components. You get the funding, you'll be a principal researcher, and you're gonna get your PG student. But if you do like this, collaborating with the industry, you also can get in-kind facilities we given to you. The facility, the equipment, the software, and then you have of course you have number 4 and number 5, and also you have a government grant opportunity like I shared before. The sandbox, and mostly I apply via the industry. It's much more easier to penetrate. Okay, and then to convince the panel. Okay, and then if you work with the government grant, some of the consultancy work you cannot claim, but if you use this method, you also can get the consultancy payment, even though you are the Postgraduate or something, if you have the right to own that consultancy, yes, you can get it. Okay, and then last but not least, you're going to get your technology transfer, staff and internship, lecturer and student, because now you are already not only know, you are already in their shoes. You can enter all these facilities, staff, interchange, internship, and etc. Okay, and then lastly, yes, you have to do your best lah. You have to do your best to achieve something significant in your life. I think that's all, Dr. Naim. Do I have a few minutes more?
You still have thing to present?
I still have 1 or 2 slides.
Yeah, you can complete.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
All right. So not conclude yet, because I would like to see my future technical leader to have a bit of entrepreneurial mindset. Okay. So to me, entrepreneur, you are a problem solver. Okay. Problem solver is not on your business, but on your daily life. It will impact you in your daily life. Okay, in your family, in your future career. First, you have to make sure that you have to see yourself. You will be a self-starter who can push yourself to get things done. Okay, even though you do it alone. So if you have this mindset, you will find out that at any circumstances you can do it yourself. Okay, either by collaboration or get someone to help you to make it done because you have a network. Number 2, you are able to willing the changing cost of the necessary. You have to be flexible. Like say, for example, if your collaborator want to change something, you have to be flexible. And then this will also impact in your daily life. If you can solve this in your solution to your daily problem, you will adapt to another solution because it will relate the way how your mind thinking. Okay. And then the way how you communicate. Okay. My business on the racing suit, I communicate a lot of the high rank level in, they want to order this racing suit. So I'm quite surprised that I'm talking to someone, the Dato or Tan Sri, but they do not say they are Tan Sri or Dato. So actually it's just a human to human conversation. Don't worry so much on the title. Okay, you can collaborate and communicate. Okay. And then you have to be creative and innovation. Okay. Okay. And then at the end, what you can see, you have a capability of critical thinking. If you want to make one decision in your family, in your career, even your career, you find out that there's a lot of the risk. Okay. If you use this risk, what is the consequences? You at the end you find out your problem. This is the best for you because you already have a mindset of critical thinking. Okay, just imagine that if you own the business startup, now your company is very, very risk. Okay, due to the pandemic, and then since you already have a critical thinking, you are a business owner. At the end, you will find the solution, inshallah. And then you have to always looking for the future. You will find ahead. You want to do this because in the next 5 years you will be someone like this. Okay, like for example, you want to own a bungalow house. Okay, you have to vision to have the own bungalow house. What you have to do today, okay, is either to understand the ecosystem or the banking, to do investment or something. You have to look in the future and work today. Okay, and then you have to recognize the opportunity very fast. Okay, you have to in fact the opportunity to do the research, to get a research grant. Some research grant is only open for five days. Sometimes if the window is too small, okay, too short, there's high possibility, the chances is there. Okay, sometimes tak ada siapa sempat hantar proposal, but you already have it and submit. The possibility you're gonna own that grant. Okay, then lastly, at the end you will comfortable with your risk. You are the risk taker. As talking about the risk taker, perhaps you can link it to your daily life or even in your hobby. This is the last slide for me. To me, maybe this is irrelevant, but this is my weekend hobby. So I take so much risk in my life to do all the challenges. That's it. So I want to be, my student have a growth mindset to do all this, do you think impossible and frustration, stick to the what you know now. You have to keep on exploring, like try to do something which is you think a failure. This is something for you to learn and you want to grow. That's all for me, Dr. Naim.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zul. It is heartfelt presentation. We can feel a presentation from your heart. Such an inspiring presentation. I think it's evident from the I think it's a complimenting presentation made by Dr. Zul on the topic, on top of what have been presented by Dr. Azlina. And it has been evident that now we know that Dr. Zul is a robotist. He is a jack of all trades, if I can say so. He owns a business fabricating suit for motorsport to doing corporate social responsibility training to school children on how to develop a robotic system. It is a feat of achievement, actually. So thank you very much, Dr. Zul, for sharing your experience walking on the street, going through this whole process of commercializing your research product. Thank you very much. All right, we have around 10 minutes left before 12:30. Maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions from the audience for the panel. Is there anybody want to ask question, please? Or you can type in the chat box. I'll read out.
If I may say a few words.
Oh yeah, sure, Pravida, please.
Yeah, I'm really inspired with what Dr. Zul has, developed and his own journey in coming up with products useful to the market. Actually, the word commercialization is not a suitable word. What we are trying to do is actually to come up with useful device and technology for the benefit of humankind. And I remember the WIPO regional symposium that I attended with Dr. Nur Azlina in Osaka. We had Dr. Richard Cahoon with us from Cornell, and he started with the basic philosophy why university is started. And this is in Muslim countries, in where is that? In Damascus, all right, in Damascus. The idea is that when you come up with useful invention is to help humankind. So it's very much related to our role as Khalifa in this world. So the word commercialization and wealth creation is a misnomer, actually. What you're trying to do is to reach out to the society, to come up with devices to help them to improve their livelihood, right? So it's more of, knowledge sharing, community engagement, sharing our knowledge with the community rather than, the dollars and cents. Because I always thought they would start with talking about dollars and cents. The reason why university embark in this is so that we get money, but it's not. It goes back to our philosophy. Our philosophy as scholars, as generators of knowledge, is to share our knowledge with the humankind. I hope that helps. Just a bit of.
Yes.
But to Dr. Azlina, I know the government has come out with a lot of initiatives and fundings. It's just a matter of matching the researchers, the PhD students, with all these fund providers. I think maybe that is the gap is there. The gap is not so much the value of death. The gap is the matching, the linking between the researchers, the lecturers, and the grant providers, and perhaps later to be handholded, mentoring opportunities so that this product will be able to reach out the market.
Thank you, Prof. Ida. Dr. Naim, may I say something just in response to what Prof. Ida mentioned just now? Actually, we have many other initiatives based on what Prof. Ida mentioned just now. We also have Malaysia Social Innovation Program, in which we try to roll out R&D output of researchers that can be beneficial to the communities in terms of raising their income, increase their quality of life. So we also have that kind of program Previously, it was executed by MOSTI, but now, starting this year, it is being rolled out by Yayasan Inovasi Malaysia. Probably some of you may be interested to have your products, if it is ready, to be applied by the communities, especially for the bottom 40s. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Azlina. Thank you, Prof. Ida. All right. Is there any question from the chat box? Let me check. Otherwise, anybody has more question? Maybe you can take one more question or comment. Even from the panel, if you want to say anything, Dr. Zul?
Dr. Naim.
Yeah.
I would like to also respond to what Dr. Zul mentioned just now on this South Korea. Yes, we know very well on the fact that they are very advanced. I would like to share on their sharing attitude, because at this moment they have already established one single platform for all the researchers in universities or in research institutions to book facilities, research facilities or equipment residing in any of the organizations in South Korea. So only one PhD lecturer, he is now with the South Korean government. He took all the trouble to develop this particular system, and they are very generous to share. But the attitude of our, Malaysians, I'm not sure how to say about it, quite reluctant to share the research facilities even among universities. And actually that is something that we should work on. And mostly he has actually embarked on gathering all these equipment and scientific facilities. You can look in App Store. The name is National Equipment and Scientific Facility. You will know where precisely some of the equipments and scientific facilities for R&D can be found. But of course, maybe some of the organizations will charge you if you would like to utilize the facilities. But this is one of the initiatives moving ahead. But we hope more organizations will come forward. And regarding Dr. Zul's mentioning that we have many overlapping researchers and also on the disbursement, of course, the government also realized on this matter. The cabinet has approved the formation of Research Management Agency to be an umbrella agency to look into all the researchers in Malaysia, to look at the areas, to look at the disbursement, so that we can optimize the funding from the government to all related parties. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Dr. Azlina for that information. All right. Is there anything else?
There's no question from the student. I'm expecting they would like to learn something.
Yes, Sister Shakira, to ask question, please.
Okay.
You unmute, please. Shakira, you're muted. Sister Shakira, you're muted.
Voice ada. Maybe can type your question. Can you type your question?
Now it's unmute.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Maybe the volume in your laptop could.
Yeah. Shakira, we cannot hear you. Just now we can hear you, but then you lost your voice. No, can't hear. Still cannot.
I hear you. And maybe you type it, I think. I think we need more and more self-made scientists and researchers like Prof. Zul.
Yes, definitely.
Remind me of Iron Man. He developed that suit in the cave with little gadgets. Yes.
Okay, for the last 3, I try to improve in term. Actually, the intention, the safety. Ramai saya punya kawan ride motorcycle is accident and fatality rate is very high. So I would like to share with them this affordable okay, affordable racing suit. Then I put this kind of airbag system and ventilation system as well in the suit as the added value.
So I'm not sure whether you have, because I saw that you met Stride, right, in your tadi tu kan? Whether you would like to work with Stride, I think they probably may be coming out dengan suit for, I mean, the military.
Ada exoskeleton, tapi Stride already signed the MOA, employment within for surface vessel.
And also with probably Malaysia Berhad, I think they have also came with, dengan Dr. Rizal kan, Dr. Rizal Khairi. Because masukkan elemen nano in the attires to be
boleh insyaAllah. So my mission now is to nurture the young lecturer. So I have a few young lecturer with me now. Diorang pening jugalah the way how to manage the MOA, and then let's say let me handle the CEO punya conversation lah. You do the work, and then slowly they try to understand lah. So far alhamdulillah, there's a few lecturer is ready.
Right. Okay, we have a question now from Sister Shakira. Maybe I can just read out. Can my research be commercialized, as I'm looking at the financial performance of micro business? I intend to produce or create a module on financial management to micro business. Currently, the training provider focusing on bookkeeping and financial reporting only.
So this is a kind of a software. This is sometimes our services and software do you want to introduce. Okay. So as I say, you want to pitch to which who are your takers lah. Okay. Yeah, it's a good way for you to prove that you dah achieve a certain track record. Okay, kalau without the track record, it's hard for them to accept. So let's say for example di IIUM, let's say you nak produce a straw, biodegradable straw, nak produce kepada Malaysia lah. Okay, but then you tak test pun in the IIUM market, okay, so that everyone can use it. So in your case, make sure that you test it in your ada uncle punya kedai apa, make it for free, do all this marketing stuff and all the stuff. This is the basic lah. Okay, you need the trust based on your track record. Okay, anything possible, insyaAllah.
Yes, I concur with what Dr. Zul mentioned just now. We need to also have this market validation. So what Dr. Zul mentioned just now is market validation to test whether your software can be acceptable, can be utilized by your potential target market. And of course, if you have this software, then IP kan, Dr. Zul comes into the picture, so that no other people will imitate or will copy the product of your hard work. And eventually, if this is acceptable to the market validation is successful, then we can look at this further on how this can be commercialized further lah. If you need further funding, or probably you need to test it in a more acceptable manners, or probably your software is against any regulation, for example, then we can have it under sandbox, regulatory sandbox, to have it tested in a particular organization or for a few months lah. So that can also be the case. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much to both panel for the response. It's already 12:30. Time is not on our side. I'm so sorry. I think like it should continue. Anyway,
maybe you can take a photo before we give.
Again, Prof?
Take photo, everybody.
Yeah, sure. Yes, at the end of the session, we'll take photo. Inshallah, if we have opportunity again, we'll invite both panelists to talk more on this topic. I think there are a few that has been proposed by even Dr. Zul just now on the topic relevant to commercialization. From CPS, on behalf of CPS, Prof. Ida, we would like to accord our gratitude to both panel for your sharing. It's very informative. I promise that this recorded session will be shared in our postgraduate media platform. I think Dr. Azlina has given a link to your Google Drive of your slide presentation. I hope Dr. Zul can share your slide presentation if you don't mind, so that we can share those presentation, very informative presentation with our student. So before we end the session, perhaps we can take a photo session. The technical, Mia, right? Or his brother Mahbub? Muhib, can you coordinate the photo session before we end the webinar? Sister Mia?
Right. So all participants, if you kindly can open your camera, will be much more better for the photo session. So we took the photo 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay. Hold on, yeah. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Mia. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Prof. Ida and the team
Thank
from
you for accepting our invitation. Thank you.
Thank you,
No
Azlina.
problem. Most welcome. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you,
Stay
Dr. Zina.
safe.
Assalamualaikum semua. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, bye-bye.
Beautiful presentation. Beautiful. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.